John Cena came out and he took his shirt off, he whipped it around, he threw it in the crowd, and I caught that t-shirt. And I remember catching that t-shirt, and the first thing I did was looked at the tag on the shirt. I had to know what size t-shirt he was wearing. And he had a 3XL t-shirt on.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the exclusive Sportskeeda In Focus program. I'm one of your two hosts, Bill Apter.
I am Brad Gilmore.
You are, yes.
That is right.
And today, in focus, we're going to NXT. We're going to talk about the Great American Bash. And in focus today is a man I've known for several years, Cameron Grimes. Welcome to Sportskeeda.
It's great having me. Thanks, Bill. This is truly an honor. You did some of the first stuff for the Great American Bash. So for me to be headlining the Great American Bash and for you to be interviewing me in that process is truly an honor.
Well, thank you so very much. Now, before we talk about the Great American Bash, there are two things that we're starting to do today to take a survey of some of the wrestlers. So you're the first one. So we're going to start off. On this past week on WWE TV, this guy, who you can see.
I can.
Yeah, made his comeback, not a wrestling comeback, but he came back to sports entertainment, okay? As you know, he's been doing movies for several years. People wondered if he is ever coming back, if we can see him. Tell us your reaction to the so far comeback of John Cena.
I think it's absolutely incredible that John Cena's back. And I'll actually go to a little side story here. I remember around 2007, maybe, Raw was in Raleigh, North Carolina, and I got to go to the show. And John Cena came out, and he took his shirt off, he whipped it around, he threw it in the crowd, and I caught that t-shirt. And I remember catching that t-shirt, and the first thing I did was look at the tag on the shirt. I had to know what size t-shirt he was wearing. And he had a 3XL t-shirt on, and it was still tight on his arms. That man is a freak. John Cena is the man. I look up to him so much. And any time that he can come back and truly be the star that he is on our show, I'm tuning in every time.
All right, so if you win the NXT title for Bron, and John Cena said, you know what? I want a shot at the NXT title. How would you wrestle John Cena?
So when I win the NXT championship, I would love to defend that against John Cena. I mean, I feel like anyone that is in this business would love the opportunity to be against John Cena and any type of light. You can book it on a coconut show in Largo. I don't care if it's on television. You can book it. You can just do it in the Performance Center and we won't even have to turn the cameras on. And I would love that opportunity.
Well, maybe we'll have you down here in Apter's Alley.
Oh, there we go. No holds barred.
No
in
holds
Apter's
barred.
Alley.
No holds barred.
There we go, an Apter's Alley street fight. Cameron,
Yeah.
big fan of your work. You do a hell of a job there in NXT. But I want to talk about, there's a woman over the left shoulder, I believe, of Mr. Bill Apter, Ronda Rousey, wearing a NXT t-shirt. And it made me think of this question. If Ronda, the current SmackDown Women's Champion, were to come down to NXT and appear on NXT 2.0, if you had to put your Booker's hat on, who are you matching Ronda up with in NXT?
Right. So I think if Ronda came down to NXT, first off, she would snap Mandy and the whole Toxic Attraction's arms off. Right. So I want to put her in a little bit of a better contest. And ultimately, when I think of who is the best woman in NXT, in my opinion, Io Shirai is going to be the first woman I think of. And I think Io Shirai versus Ronda Rousey is a match that maybe people hadn't really thought about. But then when you actually put some thought into that, bonkers, insanity, how good it would be.
All right. So
Love that answer.
Let's go. Yeah, that's a great answer. Let's go to the Bash. Okay. And as you fans know, you will be able to see that on Peacock, one of the premium pay-per-views. And for you fans in Europe, you can see that, of course, on the WWE Network. So you're going against this, one of the biggest challenges of your career. you have you were a former NXT champion for 65 days, and you had won it from Carmelo Hayes, and 65 days is a pretty decent run. But now you're dealing with somebody who has a history of a father and an uncle who are two of the toughest, whatever you want to call them, in the whole world. You had the Steiner lines, and he's got the same mental state as his father, Rick Steiner, is that no matter what you have to do to win, do it. How are you going to wrestle? How are you going to wrestle him for the title?
Right. And like you said, the genetics are there. You can see it. The kid is a spitting image of his father. But the difference is that his father paid dues. His father traveled the world. His father, and they busted heads all over the world. Bron Breakker's been here for a very short amount of time, and this was his backup plan. Even his daddy wanted him to play in the NFL. His daddy didn't want him to join the WWE, but then when the NFL didn't work out so well, his daddy did what was best and got him in the WWE. And now that's just the nature of the business, right? We've seen that through all of time, that these kids are going to get put in better positions. But I can tell you, at 28 years old and 14 years in this business, 7 of those 14 years have been on national television. I have forgotten more than that kid's learned in this short amount of time. I am ready for this. I won the North American Championship earlier this year from Carmelo Hayes, and that was the biggest moment of my life. I dedicated that match to my father because I told my father that I would be a champion in this company. 65 days is not long enough for me, Bill. 65 days is not long enough for me to be a champion and for me to say that I am a champion. So instead of trying to go back for the North American title, I'm coming at Bron Breakker. I'm coming at the biggest guy we got, the NXT champion. And if I don't win that, then I don't have a backup plan, Bill. This is all I got.
What about the weeks, the 4 to 6 weeks that you were out with your knee injuries? Are they completely ready for this match?
Yep. So luckily that was, that was over a year ago that I had dealt with that. So I am completely over that. I'm in the best shape of my life. I don't think that after watching television past week on NXT, I don't think that Bron could say he's in the best shape of his life going into this match. But I can confidently tell you that I am in the best shape of my life going into this match.
Brad?
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible to see. I mean, you've had a great run in NXT so far. This would definitely be the cherry on top. But let's talk about before NXT really getting to that level, getting to the big show, getting to the WWE. You had a great, ride to that level. Talk to me about your training, though. How was your pro wrestling training? Because looking stuff up about you and seeing some of your background, you had some big names who kind of helped guide your path in this game.
For sure. From Cameron, North Carolina, if you know anything, I feel like the only reason you would know about Cameron, North Carolina is because of professional wrestling or sports entertainment. I feel like unless you buy chickens, then you might know about Cameron, North Carolina. But I have a heritage of knowledge that I was able to learn from with the Hardy Boys, with Hurricane Shane Helms. I got to learn under these guys, and I got to train under those guys. So for years, I was in the ring every single day. You couldn't get me out of the ring. And then when I got signed to WWE, I got to take less time in training, but I'm still in there as much as I was, but now I'm in better conditions. I'm under the best coaches, using the best equipment. So you just can't beat that. You can't beat passion and hard work. And I think that I bring that.
What do you think and I'd like to do these scouting reports, what are the strengths and the weaknesses of Bron Breakker?
I think the strengths we got to start with is the complete obvious. Like, have you seen the shoulders on that guy? He's 6 foot wide. He looks like a dump truck. But then the worst part is that when he played football, he was a fullback. The fullbacks are tough. They are built to just run through people as fast as they can. So he's strong and he's fast. But the weakness comes to his knowledge in this business. Yes, his father was in this business. Yes, his uncle was in this business. But were they true technical master classes? No, they were just some tough guys. And that tough guys eventually run into a wall. Tough guys can have the rug pulled out from underneath them. Eventually, tough guys run into an obstacle that they're not prepared for. And that's going to be me. I am the Rubik's Cube that he's going to have to solve. Do you think that Bron Breakker can solve a Rubik's Cube? I don't think so.
Maybe, but what about you now? What are your strengths and your weaknesses? Let's put you on the spot.
Yeah, so egotistically, I'm going to say that my strengths are that I am prepared for all these situations. I have learned from the greatest. I have worked under so many of the greatest. Now I'm under Shawn Michaels and Triple H. So the minds that I have been able to work through have been incredible. And that's what gets you through this business is your mind. And I think that I am prepared better than Bron is in that situation. I think that I have been in more matches and I have seen more outcomes than he can. So I can react to that better than he can. I think that I am well built for those situations where he's, 3 months, like as much strength and knowledge that he may have gotten in the 3 months, it's just not going to compete to me. I think that's where my strengths are. And then my weaknesses, yeah, he's bigger than me, but I'm a tough guy too. 6 foot tall, 220 pounds. You know what I mean? And then my finish is I jump up and stomp you into the ground. So at 220 pounds, I'm jumping 6 feet in the air and stomping you into the ground. At what point do you have to think that I'm not a freak athlete as well? And that's what people get stuck in their heads is that, yeah, I may have not have came from football, but that doesn't mean I'm not a freak as well. There's a reason I've been in this business for 14 years.